Hey everybody, Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Man, do we have a great tool review here for you today, because today we have the holy trinity of inverters here. We have an inverter from Dewalt, one from Milwaukee, and one from our friend Shaka Gillis's. This is his personal favorite right here, the Ryobi one. And so today we're going to open these guys up. We're going to run all of them through the tests. We're going to see what they can power up. We're going to have them power up TVs, laptops. We're going to see if they can charge the phones rapidly. We're going to see if they can charge their own batteries with these as well. So stick around, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And next up on the bill in our House of Vaudeville, folks, we have the Dewalt 140 watt inverter. Now this one is operated off of a cigarette lighter. This one is not battery operated. And to our knowledge, Dewalt does not even make a battery operated inverter. We checked their website, we could not find one. So this is the Dewalt DXAE PI 140. The 140 watt power inverter. The Dewalt 140 watt inverter comes with a 120 AC power outlet. They claim that it can supply up to 3.1 amps of USB power. And on the box, they show it being able to power phones, tablets, cameras, laptops, and radios. It has silent operation, no loud fan, operates off of a 12 volt DC plug. It is made from heavy duty construction, drop resistant housing, and it also comes with an install kit to install it in your vehicle. So it outputs 5 volts and 3.1 amps onto the USB ports. Now here we have the Milwaukee 2846-20 M18 175 watt Topoff power supply. Milwaukee claims that this charges devices up to 75% faster. Milwaukee claims that this Topoff power supply will supply you with 175 watts of continuous power from any M18 battery. It has 2 USB ports. One of them is a USB-A port. That's a 5 volt 4 amp up to 12 watts. And the other one is a USB-C port, which it could be either 5, 9, 12, or 15 volts at up to 3 amps. Okay, so here we have the Ryobi 18 volt 150 watt power inverter. This Ryobi 18 volt power source has 2 USB outlets and a single 120 volt outlet. The 2 USB outlets operate at 5 volts DC and up to 2.4 amps. And it has external LEDs on it as well. There are 3 contenders here outside the safety of their safe rooms where real-world tests will be performed on them. Now, during the testing of these 3 power inverters, I'm going to be using my WhatsUp Pro power meter. And what this does is this measures in series. You plug in the appliance into here, and then this plugs into the inverter. And this will measure the current and the wattage being produced by these inverters. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Milwaukee Topoff power inverter first. And we're going to see if this one can power up my new LG OLED CX55 inch TV. And we bought this over the summer. This is actually an awesome TV that comes with this magic remote. We did a big thorough tool review on this one, and I'll put a link to that down in the description for you below. But let's start off and see how well this can power the TV. Okay, so first we're going to take our WhatsUp and plug it into the output of the Milwaukee inverter. And then right here, I'll turn this so you can see it. I'm turning on the power supply for the AC. You'll hear a slight humming noise at first there. Okay, so now the WhatsUp is turned on, and now we will take the TV and plug it into here to the output of the WhatsUp. Now as you can see, we have it set to volts, so the WhatsUp is telling us we are getting 119 to 120 volts. I hit the mode there, and that's on amps right now. So I'll leave it on amps just for now. We'll plug in the TV. Now it goes up to 0.2 amps. Now we're going to use the remote here to turn on the TV. Okay, so at first the TV looked like it was shutting off and turning back on again a few times. It looked like it was having a hard time with it, but now it seems to be working. So here is our setup here. As you look right down there, oh, see, it just clicked off again. So the inverter is sitting there with the WhatsUp. I'm going to try plugging the TV directly into the inverter. I want to make sure the WhatsUp isn't causing it. And it's not really drawing much current either. It's not like there's a problem with it. Well, it might be. I don't know. We're getting close. We're at 0.75 to 0.8 amps. I'm putting on a brand new high output XC 8.0 battery. I want to start off with a good solid amount here. Let's check the battery. There we go. Let's turn it back on. The inverter is on now. You can see the meter, the watts up meter has come back on. And I will put it back into current measuring mode. And you can see the TV is still doing the same thing again. Okay, so here you can see we're only drawing not even 0.7 amps. And we're not even sure at what point it would cut off anyway. Maybe an amp, maybe more. We just simply don't know. It's not specified in the instructions from Milwaukee here as to what point it will cut off. You saw how it was making the TV power on and off for several times in the beginning, but now it seems to be doing pretty good. Okay, so there's our watts. We're at 155 watts or so right now. Just dropped down a little more. So the watts is going all over the place. But you can hear the fan picking up. Let me see what the current looks like. Yeah, see, it's drawing 1.26 amps right now. Let me check the battery life. See, look at that. We're already down one signal bar and it hasn't even been 2 minutes. So this thing, for whatever reason, is just drawing a huge amount of current for this type of device to be able to supply. Then every once in a while, you'll see the current spike up a little bit, see? Starting to get closer to 0.7. So who knows, maybe it depends on what kind of action is going on the screen, how much it has to change, and update everything. Then we'll turn on the USB port right here for charging. And it says 1 hour and 52 minutes until fully charged. And that means to me that this is indeed providing fast charging capability. Otherwise it would say 2.5 hours. Sometimes it would say 4 hours with other. So here you can see about 15 minutes later we're already at 26% charge on the phone. And you can see a little over 2 hours later we're at 100%. Okay, so now we're going to try everything on the Ryobi Power Inverter. So there's the WhatsApp Pro being plugged in to the Ryobi. And now we'll take the phone cord out of there, the charger cord. Kind of right here, I'll just plug the phone right there. Now we'll turn on the Ryobi right there. It'll switch from red to green. And you can see the charger just came on there on the phone. So we know that's charging. And the Ryobi is telling us 1 hour and 21 minutes to charge. Okay, so now we will turn on the TV. Okay, so the TV came right on there with the Ryobi. So you can see after about 5 minutes or so, it started doing the same thing with the Ryobi as it did with the Milwaukee Toppoff. So the TV just turned off and turned back on again. And look at this, the Ryobi Power Inverter here got fairly hot there. Look at this, up to almost 190 degrees right there. Alright, so we'll turn off the Ryobi unit. Okay, now the Dewalt Power Inverter, you can see it in the middle there. It's powered by this Duracell PowerPack Pro 1100 because it needs to be plugged into a cigarette lighter adapter that you see right there on the top. Okay, so now we have the Dewalt here by itself, and we'll go ahead and power up the Dewalt inverter. You just push the power button. Okay, so now we're going to try plugging in the watts up meter directly into the battery pack. Then we'll turn on the AC power, and you can see the meter is coming on now. So now if we try to plug the TV into the Watts Up Pro, it triggers a fault alert. So the problem with the Dewalt inverter is that it doesn't seem to be able to handle loads very well here. So let's try to power it up there, and it stays nice and solid blue. That means everything's normal. But the minute we plug in the Watts Up Pro, does it work? Yeah, it looks like it's doing okay. Now we're going to plug the TV into the Watts Up Pro, and suddenly we get a fault. So the Dewalt can't handle the inductive load of the TV for whatever reason. So it's shutting off the output to the outlet here. So it looks like the Dewalt unit is going to be a bust in terms of operating this TV. We're going to plug in this lamp, which has a 10-watt LED light bulb there. See how that does. See, so it works okay on there. Now we have here with us our Milwaukee Packout charger light, and we're going to see if all three of these inverters are capable of powering this guy to see if it will charge the M18 battery that's in here, and if we can also power the lights. We'll put this thing in full beast mode and see if it can turn them on. We'll try all three inverters. So let me get these lights all set up. Okay, so here we are, looking pretty there. Okay, so now we've pulled out the battery just to make sure that this is only operating off of 120, and you can see the lights are on there now. See, so we've proven now, folks, that the Milwaukee Topoff inverter can indeed power our Milwaukee Packout. Now I want to see if we can charge the battery with it. So I'm going to slide the battery back in here. Then as we come in for a closer look, we can see that the charger light is indeed on the side of our Packout charger / light, and the lights are still on. Okay, so the Milwaukee inverter here is handling it actually just totally perfectly. It's doing it very nicely. No problems whatsoever. Okay, so now we're going to move the action over to the Ryobi inverter, and we enable it first by turning it on, and it'll switch from red to green. This is now lit up green, which means we can now use our output port there, the outlet, and let's plug it in. And sure enough, okay, and then just like before with the Milwaukee inverter, having it connected up to the Ryobi inverter, it also was able to charge our battery in there, and there's our charger light is on. So here we can see the lights are still on there, and I'm going to pull the battery out of the charger just to make sure that it's not running off the battery and cheating on us here. See, so there we unplugged it, and the lights are still on. So the Ryobi inverter was able to power up the Milwaukee Packout charger light, and now I'm going to put the battery back in. And he's only making a minimum amount of buzzing. I can hear the fan kicking in inside here on the inverter. It's fairly quiet. Okay, now that we have completed testing with the Milwaukee inverter and the Ryobi inverter, let us now try it. Move our action over here to the Dewalt inverter. I'm going to turn off the power on the Ryobi, pull the extension cord off of it, and move it over here to the Dewalt, which is on, and I have a blue light right there. Turn it on. All right, so the light comes on. But look, do you see how it shut right back off again? So there's something wrong. Dewalt just doesn't seem to be up to the challenge of being able to put out kind of power. And we're blinking red and blue here on the button. I don't know why it thinks there's something wrong when the Ryobi and the Milwaukee are perfectly able to handle things, taking care of business, but Dewalt is falling short. They can't even open the doors for business. They can't even start their day. And it is now telling us it's blinking. This thing is blinking blue and red, which means there's an error of some sort. So I think there's something wrong with this Dewalt. Now I should point out that the power light is blinking red and blue, so Dewalt is thinking there's something wrong with the load on the output maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so multiple times that we try to reset the power here on the Dewalt unit and then turn on the light comes on, so we know the power works, but then it just shuts right off again. It keeps clamping the output, the AC output on here. Okay, since it appears like our good friend Mr. Dewalt does not want to give us any 120 power, it's deriving its power source from the cigarette lighter here on the Duracell power pack. So let's see if maybe there's something wrong here. I mean, it's getting its power. It's able to at least turn this thing on. So we know, we saw it pump out 120 AC. It just clamped itself. Let's go ahead here and turn on the AC outlet here. And then we're going to take the plug for the Milwaukee charger light and plug it in right here. Let me get this thing off of here. We don't need that there. Okay, so we are now plugged in. Battery level is perfect. Nothing wrong there. I'm going to turn the light on. So the light's on nice and bright and everything. So at least we know this guy is putting out the proper amount of power that it takes to drive the Milwaukee Packout. But somehow it doesn't translate to the little Dewalt inverter. Don't know why. There's something wrong in their circuitry in there. Seems like no matter what you plug into it on this AC outlet, it makes this thing go haywire and he starts blinking blue and red right there on the power button. Okay, so flash forward 5 minutes into the future. This light's still on, so there's nothing wrong with the Duracell power supply that we're using for the Dewalt. Okay, so now we're going to run the test on which one of these three inverters here can charge my laptop. So it says right here, your battery is running low. So I've already got it plugged into the Milwaukee. I'm going to turn on, enable the AC outlet. And now I'm going to plug him in to the side of the computer. And it is charging. Let's see if it gives any indication of how long it will take. So now with the Milwaukee Topoff inverter connected up, it's telling us right here we have 5 hours and 6 minutes until fully charged. We'll give that a couple of minutes because I want to see if maybe it updates in a couple of minutes and says, oh, it's actually less time. Okay, so about 2 minutes later I come back and check, and the charging time has now dropped down to 3 hours and 49 minutes. So it just needs time, I guess, to get the flow going there with the charger and to determine how much time it thinks it's really going to take. And I'll bet on the next update it probably drops down even lower. And sure enough, like not even a minute later, it drops down to 2 hours and 12 minutes. So it looks like that our Milwaukee Topoff inverter is supplying enough power to be able to charge the laptop in a quick enough manner. I imagine after about 5 minutes totally elapsed time, this thing will be down to a normal like hour-long charge. All right, so now we're going to turn off the Milwaukee inverter, and you can see the screen goes blank again. And next we're going to bring over the Ryobi. We're going to turn him on here and then plug him in. And that gets rid of the message on the screen. So now we know we're going to be able to charge, and it's charging right now. Let's see how much time it says it has left. Okay, it says we're at 8%, so it'll take it a minute or so to calculate how long. So here we go. We're up to 9%, and it's saying 1 hour and 54 minutes remaining. So the Ryobi inverter is also able to provide enough power to the laptop to charge it at a fast rate. Let's try the Dewalt now. Okay, I'm going to turn off the Ryobi inverter, and let's take our action over here to the Dewalt. He's got a solid blue light, so he's ready to go. We'll see if he can handle this. And again, it starts blinking blue and red and blue and red. But however, it stopped, so I don't know what was going on there. So we don't know what was happening there. For about 2 or 3 seconds, it was blinking blue and red, meaning that it has a problem. You know, like, Houston, we've got a problem. But everything looks okay now. So let's see what it says. Okay, so right now it says 1 hour, 53 minutes. So it looks like so far all three of these inverters are up to the task for charging the laptop. And here we are a couple of minutes later. It's still going pretty good. You can see the time has dropped, so 1 hour and 41 minutes. So all three of these are doing a good rapid charging. Okay, so we are going to see how each of these power inverters does with this simple LED light bulb. Now you might think, oh, come on, they'll pass the test easily. Hey, but you never know. Sometimes when you have these dirty sine wave inverters, they could cause your LED bulbs to flicker and blink. We used to have problems like that with Christmas lights. Let's try this one here. I'll turn it on right there. Is he not coming on? There we go. The bulb just needed to be tightened. Okay, so he's on okay. Doesn't look like he's blinking or flashing or anything. We'll disengage that outlet. Let's try it on the Dewalt inverter. And he's handling it just fine. And his indicator here stayed blue. See the blue indicator right there? So this was the first appliance that I've seen it on that it didn't start flashing red and blue and going crazy on us. So we'll turn that off. We'll plug it into the Ryobi Power Inverter. and hit the power button there. And there we go. So all three of these power inverters easily handle this LED light. Okay, now since the package shows that it can power a fan here, you know darn well I'm going to test that. So let's go ahead and let's enable the Milwaukee Topoff Power Inverter first. We'll plug it in. We'll turn on the fan. And on he goes. Let me see if he's on full strength there. There's lowest coming up. And there's the highest speed right there. So there you can see the Milwaukee inverter is able to handle the fan. Let's see how the Dewalt does. I'm going to turn the Milwaukee off. Going to power up the Dewalt inverter. So here you can see the switch is on blue. Let's plug him in. Make sure he's powered up. He is. I think we have to hit that, yeah. And so you can see here that the Dewalt Power Inverter is also able to run the fan as well with no problem. So now I'll turn him off. Let's plug it into the Ryobi Power Inverter. He's on, he's set to green. Let's turn on the power. And there you go, you can see it going nicely there. So all three of these power inverters are easily able to operate this fan. So now we're going to see how well these three power inverters do on powering up this Milwaukee M12 rocket light. Now, as you know, the rocket light can be powered by AC, and that's what I'm doing right here. So I'm plugging in the cord. I've pulled out the M12 battery, and so we're just now going to turn it on. And okay, so we'll enable the Milwaukee Topoff inverter first. We'll plug it in here. There we go. So now we're going to try it on the Dewalt Power Inverter. Turn the Dewalt unit on here. It's nice and solid blue. We'll plug in the cord and let us push the button. So you can see that the Dewalt Power Inverter is also able to power this Milwaukee M12 rocket light. Okay, now that that is done, let's try it on the Ryobi inverter. So we'll plug it right in here into the Ryobi Power Inverter. And then we'll turn on the light on the button. Okay, so all three of our power inverters passed the test here for powering up the Milwaukee M12 rocket light. Now we want to see if each one of these power inverters is capable of charging both an iPad and a phone at the same time, because they both do have dual USBs on them. So we'll start here with the Milwaukee. Now this one here has a USB-A, which is the larger USB port, kind of like this one here, which is this type of fitting here. And then it also has a Type-C, which is this newer, smaller one, which is an improvement over that micro USB. That is a real pain in the butt if you ever had to plug those into the bottom of your older Samsung phones. So we'll plug this one in, and it's bi-directional, so I can plug it in this way or the other way. It does not matter. Kind of like the lightning cable. A nice improvement over the older micro USB design. And then the bigger end here, this is the USB of the other cable. We'll plug it in here. So the other end of that cable here is going to this lightning cable, which we'll plug onto the bottom of the iPad. This other cable is the Type-C, which is what we'll plug into the bottom of this Samsung Galaxy S8. And then we simply enable it by enabling the button right here that turns on power to the USB ports. So we've done that. You can see the phone came on. The iPad is charging. And let me just read off the screen what it says here in terms of charge time. 1 hour and 30 minutes, and we're at 11% on my phone right here. So that's pretty good. That is rapid charging. Sometimes you hook these cables up and it'll tell you like 2, 3, or 4 hours to charge. So here we've proven that the Milwaukee Toppoff inverter is capable of powering both. Now let's move everything over here to the Dewalt Power Inverter. Okay, now the Dewalt Power Inverter has 2 USB-A ports. So we can't use that other smaller cable that's USB-C type. So I had to go get a second cable that has the USB-A connector on it, which is this one. And I'll hit that button. It'll turn on the power. And you can see they both turn on. However, the phone is giving us a message to check the charger connection. So the phone right now doesn't appear to be charging. So there, let me unplug the iPad and see if that helps. Maybe the Dewalt might be limited in its output power there. So our message is still there, still not charging. Let's move the phone up to the other port here, right there, and we still get the same message. So for some stupid reason here, the Dewalt inverter is unable to charge my Samsung Galaxy S8 phone. So let me pull the phone off, and let's just plug in the iPad by itself. So it will charge the iPad, but it won't charge the phone. Let's turn off the Dewalt unit. I want to move both our plugs over to the Ryobi. Okay, so both the phone and the iPad are now plugged into the Ryobi Power Inverter. Let's turn it on. And it has no problem charging the phone or the iPad. Okay, let's take a look at how all 3 of these power inverters look in the dark. So the Milwaukee Power Inverter has 2 buttons on the top. There's the light for the outlet, and then here's the light for the USB, and you can have both on at the same time as well. Okay, so I'll turn those back off. Then the Ryobi has the power, which turns red and then green when it's ready. And then there's a button here for the LED light. See that? I'll turn that back off. Now the Dewalt has nothing other than the power button, which changes color from red to blue when it's ready. Okay, so now I've come up with a great test. What I want to do here is I want to see if each of these power inverters is capable of powering its own company's charger to charge their own battery. Right, so we have one here. Here's our Milwaukee Toppoff inverter, and we have the Milwaukee charger with its M12 battery in here, and we'll get him charging. We also have the Ryobi Power Inverter here next to its Ryobi charger, and we'll put a battery in here. And we have the Dewalt Power Inverter with the Dewalt charger here, the fast charger. We'll see if they can do their jobs. Okay, so we'll enable the Milwaukee inverter right now, and we'll see if it works here. Let's see if the light comes on. Here you can see it. It says it's charging the battery. So the red light has come on there, and we'll let him run a while. We'll see if it goes to completion. And meanwhile, we'll set up the Ryobi Power Inverter to see if it can power its own charger. Okay, so now we have the line boys side by side. We're going to plug the charger right here into the Ryobi Power Inverter. And I'll go ahead and hit the button here to power it up. It's red, now green. And you can see the LED light started. So we'll see if that continues and if it's able to charge the battery. So here we can see the charger is going. It looked like it flickered green a couple of times there, like maybe it was seeing an error. So we'll see how well it is able to charge this battery. Right now it seems to be doing okay. Okay, so while the line boys are having their fun, Dewalt's getting ready to start its own party over here. It wants to see how well it can do here. So let's turn on the inverter. He's now plugged in, and he's of course blinking blue and red. But however, even though he's blinking blue and red, he is supplying power, and it looked like the charger was trying to start. I saw it go for a bit there, but it just doesn't seem to want to go. Alright, so the Dewalt Power Inverter cannot power up its own charger and battery and make it charge the battery. Okay, so the Dewalt Power Inverter cannot power up its own brand of fast charger, and it can't charge the flex volt battery. Let's see if it was just maybe too much for it. Let's try a smaller regular charger from Dewalt with one of our little 2 amp batteries. Let's see if that does it. Maybe this will provide less of a drain. So we plug it in, and it immediately starts blinking blue and red here on the power indicator of the inverter, but then it stopped, so it's solid blue now. So it looks like we're okay, and it looks like it's charging our battery now, because you can see our LED is blinking red here. Then we will see if all 3 of these power inverters are capable of charging the battery all the way to completion. Now back over here at Team Milwaukee, you can see that the Milwaukee Topoff power inverter has finished charging the battery. We have a solid red LED right here. So this one was able to charge its own company's battery to completion here. That's an XC 6.0 battery. Now here you can see we're finally at solid green. So now we know that the Milwaukee inverter has charged this battery all the way to the end. Okay, now back here on the Ryobi Power Inverter, it did charge this other battery. But you know, I forgot, there's no battery indicator on here. There's no level strength indicator. This is one of the older batteries. So what I did was I got another one and stuck it on here. This one has a battery indicator built into it. Because when this is done charging, we want to be able to test right on the battery itself to see, did the battery really charge? So here you can see we are at a solid green LED, which means that the Ryobi inverter was indeed able to charge this larger 4 amp hour battery. And you can see all 4 LEDs are lit up there, right? So we know that it charged the battery all the way to completion. Okay, so here's the Dewalt battery. Let's see how well it does when we check the gauge on it. Yeah, so you can see it lit up all of them. So the Dewalt Power Inverter was able to operate the Dewalt charger enough to charge this battery to completion, but just not the supercharger. Well, so here we are. We completed all of our tests, and you know, I got to tell you folks, I was actually pretty disappointed in Dewalt's performance here on several of the tests. It was a complete failure, and I just don't understand why. This is what's really puzzling, folks. Why would Dewalt go through all of that effort to design and build something like this and not test it on the same appliances that we tested it on, phones and other lights and stuff like that? What do they expect this thing to power up? So, I mean, who knows? Maybe this will charge certain cell phones. It didn't charge mine, that's for sure. And you know, if all you're looking to charge is a laptop or maybe a small TV or a radio or something, hey, maybe that'll work. Who knows? Or if you want to power up a lamp. So I would have to rank both the Milwaukee Topoff inverter and the Ryobi pretty much the same. They both did pretty well on most of the tests. None of these really did the big TV very well, the 55-inch TV. And I didn't have time, otherwise this video would be too long to test all sorts of other TVs or anything like that. But anyway, what I like on the Milwaukee here is the versatility of the USB. There's 2 USB outputs here. One's a Type-C, which is nice because you're starting to see more Type-C to Type-C cables now. And it still has the Type-A USB, the bigger one. And you know, I like the fact that you can switch things on and off. I like the fact that it comes with this rafter hook. So this is great if you're working up in an attic or something. And the Ryobi, what this brings to the table too is it also has the 2 USB ports, but it also has a flashlight built onto it, which is kind of neat. So look, at the end of the day, between these two, it really matters as to which battery system you already have, right? You know, so if you've already got Milwaukee, get this one. If you've already got the Ryobi, get this one. The other limitation of the Dewalt here is this: you're tethered to your car or some other type of portable device that has a cigarette lighter adapter on it. Maybe it's the fact that it was only 12 volts, whereas these others are, you know, 18 volts. Maybe that makes a difference in what it can power. We don't know. Well, folks, here's one last look at our 2 winners here, the Ryobi and the Milwaukee Topoff inverter. So if you found this video useful so far, hey, would you do us a favor, please? Give us a thumbs up down below. That tells us that you like us. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, all I can say is why. You see all of the great world-class video content that we upload for you. Tool review videos that you see us do here, and we usually do these massive drop testing and thorough testing of our tools. We cover all sorts of home remodeling videos for you, do all sorts of kitchen remodeling videos, and we're always testing the latest tools out in our remodeling videos. And we give you the ultimate bathroom remodeling videos, and we also cover tiling of your floors around your house. We cover wood flooring, cover all sorts of engineering disasters, and of course all of the shop with me's that you see us do in all of the hardware stores like Home Depot and Lowe's and Costco to bring you the best deals on tools out there. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for joining us, folks, and we'll see you on the next one.